What's going on, yo? Welcome back to basketball. And hey, we've made it to preseason. We've had preseason basketball already, which is awesome. We're through the dark ages, which hopefully means views will start coming back to the channel. Welcome back, all you non-basketball sweats. But no, for real though, I want to start getting us ready for the start of the regular season. If you guys didn't watch the season preview series and everything, go back and watch them. They're still there. I think they're prevalent to talk about and everything. But what I want to do today is I want to rank all the starting fives in the NBA. And by I mean Bleacher Report, because they wrote an article about it and I like to read this stuff. But hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. All right, let's get into it. Power ranking every NBA starting lineup after the blockbuster Karl Anthony Towns trade. Okay, should we make a prediction? Like, one, I'm curious, like, how many of these starting lineups we actually agree with. I mean, who knows what people are actually going to put out there for the start of the season, and you guys can have your opinions on it, too. I've always seen a couple weird ones in the comments, but you know what? We're all entitled to our opinions. As long as you guys phrase it as I believe or something and not they will, you guys need to learn how to not speak in absolutes. Then I'm cool with it. I can support it. But anyway, who's going to be the worst and who's going to be the best? The Celtics got to be the best one, right? I feel like the Celtics have to be the best. Maybe you could say the Knicks. Could you? You might be able to say the Knicks at this point. But I'm going to go Celtics as number one. Who's got the worst starting five? It's got to be the Wizards, right? It's got to be the Wizards. Who else would it be? I don't know. I guess we can tell. All right, let's jump into it. Okay, the Wizards. Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Sarr, and Jonas Valanciunas. I don't think that's what they're going to roll out there. I don't want to put Kyle Kuzma at the 3. I see him as a pretty permanent 4. And look, positionless basketball, yada, yada, yada. I know it's kind of a buzzword term and everything. I would hate to put Kyle Kuzma further up on the wing. I just don't like that idea. I don't want him dribbling the ball any more than he does right now. I don't want Alex Sarr at the power forward spot. That makes me a little bit concerned. I want Alex Sarr to be a defensive-minded center. I think he's really good at that. His shot creation skills are not that great right now unless he's in transition, right? Like, that's kind of where he is at this point in his career. Just let him be a center. Bring Valanciunas off the bench. Who cares? Bring Valanciunas off the bench. Start Coulibaly. He was one of the interesting players from last season. Let's reward him and get him on the court more. That's what I want to see. I think you still have the worst starting five in basketball, but like, hey, like I like that better at least. You guys, by the way, let me know what you guys think for these lineups and everything. They even say there's real arguments for Corey Kispert and Coulibaly. Yep, totally agree. One of them should be starting though. If you want to go like win now, I'd do Kispert for development purposes. I think you can put Coulibaly on the court and feel okay about it. So that's what I would do personally. But you guys, let me know. Should we make a guess as to who's second? Is it going to be the Trailblazers or like the Nets? Give me the Trailblazers before the Nets. Oh, y'all went the Nets? Man, I don't know. I like Nick Claxton, like Cam Johnson and stuff like that. Who we got, though? And like Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cameron Johnson, Nick Claxton. Yeah, that's probably what I figure their starting lineup to be, right? Dennis Schroeder, really nice basketball player, offensively and defensively. I feel really comfortable with him out there. I think he'd be a great trade target for people. Like, I know he wants to start, and that's his whole thing at this point in his career. No hate, right? Like, I think he's a good enough player to where he can be a spot starter for a lot of teams and a full starter for a team like the Nets. I just think he could really help another team or something like that. Cam Thomas, gonna go out there and get some buckets. We'll see the overall like plus minus of him and everything by the end of the year. I'm not so sure. We'll see if Dorian Finney-Smith lasts the year. We'll see if Cam Johnson lasts the year for them. I like Nick Claxton. He's one of the more versatile defensive players we have in basketball, but y'all are telling me the Trailblazers are above them? Do we feel really good about that? I want to go ahead. It's got to be the Utah Jazz more than the Trailblazers? Oh, no way. Really? The Utah Jazz, just having Lauri Markkanen alone makes them better, right? Who are y'all saying are starting for them? Keontae George, yep, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Taylor Hendricks, and John Collins. No. We're not starting Taylor Hendricks. There's no. Not starting Taylor Hendricks this year. Dude hardly played last year. Like, okay, look. Development happens. Who knows what's happening inside training camp right now, right? That's something we all need to remember is these guys are going throughout a whole training camp right now. They've had a whole off season. Anything can happen. Taylor Hendricks looked a lot better once he kind of got on the court towards the end of the year last year. I don't think he looked good enough to start. Like, and this is giving up on Walker Kessler a bit too early. Like, I'm cool with like John Collins and Walker Kessler out there on the court, but like Kessler's too talented of a defensive player to where you can't put him on the court, or you have to like try to find a way to start him, right? I just feel like you have to. Now, like the injuries last year slowed him down quite a bit. He had a little bit of a rougher sophomore season, but like, I don't know, man. Kessler's got he has good potential to become a really nice defensive player in basketball, and I feel like you have to continue to explore that. I think you should look at trying to trade Collins. While he actually had a productive year for them and was a pretty good positive for them overall, I think you should try to move him. I just don't think you really need him. So that's my thought on things. But man, like I'm interested in Keontae George as a point guard. Colin Sexton will get buckets, even though like plus minus wise, or I actually don't know what his plus minus was, but defensively he's one of the worst players that we have in basketball. Like statistically, I know it's crazy. We all remember him from the one clip of him going like this, and we all just have this idea that he's a really good defender. He's a really bad defender, even though his effort might be high. So I don't know. The Trailblazers have to be next, right? Because like just having Markkanen alone makes me feel a lot better, and like at least this team's like organized. Portland just didn't know what it was doing half the time. So no, y'all got Portland above Detroit too? No. Okay, Detroit was really bad. Portland's going to be the worst team in basketball this year, right? Like they have to be. Like I feel like just having like Kuzma and Poole almost could put you above Portland or something like that. But really, okay. Let's hear him out. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. I'm not sure if Jaden Ivey's going to start, not because I don't want him to develop, but because I want Cade Cunningham to have the best year possible. So I would probably rather put Malik Beasley out there. Okay, yeah, they even mentioned that. Just got Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. Yep, okay, yep. Nope, I can get with that. So let's just say it's some guy like that. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Fontecchio, yep. Tobias, Jalen Duren, yep. Agree with the rest of that. I'd personally put Beasley and bring Ivey off the bench. We do have to see if these two can play together still at this point, but I just feel a lot better if we just let Cade kind of get his chance to really cook, show his stuff, because we have to figure out if this dude's like for real, right? I think a lot of us inside like NBA and like hear about all the things and we get to kind of see him and watch him play. Like this dude is really, really good. Like I think Cade Cunningham is one of the better basketball players we have out there. I think he's in such a bad situation that you just don't get to see it through all the fog and chaos and everything. So we need to give him an opportunity to do that. I'm putting Beasley on the court. They've made improvements. The team is a lot better with Fontecchio last year. I think Tobias Harris, just having a solid vet out there, is going to be fine. Tobias is generally a guy that you can count on pretty well. I know it was a rough ending in Philly, but the recency bias calmed down everybody, right? Like I still trust Tobias Harris to go out there and be a productive basketball player. And then Beasley was just an absolute sharpshooter last season, and he's been a really good shooter for a while now. So I'd like to see him out there, even if it is Jaden Ivey. I mean, I feel fine with that. I don't think it's great, but I think it's better than the Trailblazers, right? The Trailblazers are next. There's no other team I'm missing, right? The Charlotte, no, stop it. Y'all are messing with me. Did I skip them? I skipped them, right? And maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this. I'll be really curious to read the comments. You guys are like, I know I'm acting pretty surprised by this because I am, but like, really? That starting five of Portland, we feel that much better about them? Okay. All right, Charlotte Hornets fans, let's hear it. So LaMelo Ball, Josh Green. I'm not sure that Josh Green's going to start. I'd personally go Trey Mann, but I won't blame you either if you want to go Josh Green. I personally go Trey Mann. I have a lot of disagreements with shooting guards today, apparently. Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams. Yep, that makes sense to me. LaMelo Ball, all-star level player. Hopefully he's healthy and everything. Josh Green, big energy guy. I love the addition of Josh Green for this team. They need guys like that, need blue collar worker type dudes on this team. Trying to turn the franchise around, trying to like just be a better organization. Guys like Josh Green are going to help you. Brandon Miller had phenomenal rookie season. He looks like he's going to be a really nice talent in this league. Where's he going to go year two? And with maybe a whole LaMelo Ball to take some of the ball creation tasks away from him, because I still say Brandon Miller's better without the basketball, and statistically that was true last year. So we got LaMelo Ball setting him up. These two seem like a match made in heaven. Throw Mark Williams in there. That seems like a really nice trio. I really like that. Miles Bridges, he is what he is, right? I again, don't need to go into all the legal stuff with him and everything. I don't think he should probably be on the team at this point, but is what it is. Nice basketball player. Very talented in that department. So not a bad starting five at all. Like, this is not an easy out. This is a big team. If anything else, this is a big lineup. So that's interesting in and of itself. Like, I agree with most of this ranking up to this point. I just where are the Blazers? It's okay. So we got Blazers here. Scoot Henderson, who yes, had a pretty iffy season last year, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, okay, like how much can we trust him? I love Scoot Henderson as a prospect. Like, let me develop this guy, I promise you. Anthony Simons, very good offensive basketball player, right? Totally agree with that. You got Denny out there, who we found that he's productive when he has the basketball. We're not so sure who we're taking the basketball away from in order to make that happen. So that's why I'm a little bit confused as to why we'd see this lineup as better. Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, kind of like Julius Randle, really, really good basketball player. Not great in terms of trying to put a system around him. We should look at DeAndre Ayton's like shot chart. You guys can I'm sure you guys can guess it because I talk about it enough times here on YouTube, where he's just like in the operating area for a guy like Scoot Henderson constantly. Like, he does not get out of the way. So if we go to DeAndre Ayton here, let's just go to like field goal attempts or something like that so we can see the heat map of it, and we'll just let that load. But like, DeAndre Ayton's just always in the way of Scoot Henderson. It makes me so mad. I'm like, you guys need to move him somewhere else, because he is just going to keep getting in the way of him, and he'll never ever find like success playing next to a guy like that. It just won't happen. That's why like when you got a guy like Reith in the game, it went so much better. Like, look at this. No, I don't want this. This is horrible for a center. I don't want any of this. Like, he makes his shots. Like, don't get me wrong, he makes his shots. But if the goal is to develop Scoot Henderson, get him out of the way. Again, I feel like you're going to have some defensive questions with this team. Again, some solid basketball players here on this list. You're not convincing me that they're like above some of these teams, though. Just my opinion. I'm not saying those teams are going to be much better, but I think it's different. Oh, here's my Chicago Bulls. Okay, Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Vucevic. Yeah, that's probably the first one that I've completely agreed with. Looking at the team this year, I loved, there was like an article posted yesterday on Bleacher Report that I was reading, and they were like, the Bulls are actively trading Zach LaVine, and I was like, yeah, no shit, dude. Of course they are. Like, we all know they're trying. Like, it's another thing to actually go and do it. What do you do with this team, man? What do you do? Nikola Vucevic is still a good basketball player, and he's readily available. Double-double machine. The three-point shot's fallen off. That's hurt them a little bit, and teams have stopped respecting him from there, so some of the gravity you lose from him at this point. But you know what? He's still a really good basketball player. Patrick Williams, we're never going to get to see him develop because he'll never have the basketball, and that's whatever, because we just keep bringing point guards onto this team. I like Josh Giddey. I'm excited to see him this year play. I think he's a really interesting prospect. I'm happy with that Caruso trade, all said and done, so I feel pretty good about it. Kobe White, guess we'll keep developing him. I think it'd be a good time to trade him because he's on a good contract, and I don't personally think he's a part of the future, but you know, the Bulls aren't going to do that, so is what it is. And Zach LaVine, still one of the best offensive players that we have in basketball. Like, there just literally isn't anything he can't do offensively on the basketball court, so you know, you have that, but it hasn't translated to any winning, and it's not necessarily his fault. They haven't put great teams around him yet, and so is what it is. But no, I would say they fall here. You could probably convince me that the Charlotte Hornets have a better first five, honestly, than the Bulls, but yeah, is what it is at the end of the day. Toronto Raptors, yeah, this feels kind of appropriate for them. Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick, maybe Bruce Brown, although Bruce Brown's like hurt for the start of the season or something, right? Didn't I read something about that? There's like a bunch of injuries going on. We were talking about it in the Discord like a day or two ago. Go join the Discord if you haven't already. A ton of injuries to start the season, but RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. I think the goal is to have Grady Dick be the starter. He's a logical like player fit. We just actually have to see that production on the court for them. But no, this is an interesting group. Like, this is a team that, like, the first five's not going to be their problem because the numbers told us that they were really good together. It's once you go to the bench, this team is going to have some struggles, right? The Raptors were plus 3.8 when all three were on the floor of Quickley, Barrett, and Barnes. Yeah, those three were dynamic together. Like, Jakob Poeltl's like defensive numbers were crazy and everything. A big fall off for them last year was when he got hurt. They also just like retroactively started tanking at the end of the year, but is what it is. So I'm curious to see this team together. I think the goal is to get Grady Dick on there. I'd probably put Bruce Brown there if he was healthy. They're probably going to try to trade Bruce Brown anyway, but no, it's an interesting first five. I'm curious to see who they have afterwards. The Hawks. Yeah, I'd have to give it to the Hawks above the Raptors as well. If anything else, just Trae Young. But like, this is a good lineup. Ooh, Reese Shea starting, huh? We're benching DeAndre Hunter. is that the case? We forget DeAndre Hunter is like a quietly really good basketball player, but like I understand first overall pick. It's not an elite draft though. You're not going to see me tripping if Reece Shea comes off the bench this year. You're just not. I think he's going to be a nice basketball player. I think he's going to be a starter level player, and he could be a starter level player right away. But DeAndre Hunter is a nice player. You can make the case if you want to that they should move Hunter or something like that. That's fine. But just putting it out there. I love the idea of Bogey playing next to Trey and whoever they have the small forward. I really like Bogey as a player. Clint Capella is going to do his thing. We're going to keep seeing if Jalen Johnson wants to turn into something. I mean, he's going in the right direction, so that's awesome. And they still got Trey on the team. Like, Trey alone, man, can win you some games. He can. If this team can figure out how to play defense, something good could happen. All right, so who's better than the Hawks? The San Antonio Spurs. Interesting. Now, this is where this could start to get controversial, because I might be able to tell you that I feel better about the starting fives of Toronto, maybe not the Bulls, and the Hawks more than the Spurs. But, like, look, if there was a running total, like Victor Wembanyama is a 15 out of 10, and the statistics when he's on the court is that much better than so many other players in terms of, like, replacement numbers that, like, statistically, it's probably correct to have them here, but just like vibes-wise, maybe not. Adding Chris Paul to the team, huge help, right? I mean, him and Trey Jones, they're gonna already just having those two as options at point guard is gonna make the team a ton better because they know where to go with the basketball, right? Awesome. I really like Devin Vassell. I think he's a really cool player. I like his potential as a scorer. I said at the beginning of the year, I hope Devin Vassell is the leading scorer on this team. They should try to run as much offense through him as possible because we have to see what he can become. You have Sohan. He's probably going to play the 4 most likely. Harrison Barnes, yep, just a good veteran to have on the team. And then Wemby is obviously amazing. Yeah, what can we do with this team? What can just having like a more competent group of basketball players around Victor Wembanyama get you? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I personally have them as like a play-in team this year. I think that they could do it, and that's how good Victor Wembanyama is. So I guess we'll see. Then we've got the Clippers. It feels like we hit the Clippers kind of early, didn't we? But, you know, is what it is. James Harden, Terrence Mann. Yeah, that probably makes some sense. They still bring Norman Powell off the bench then. I wouldn't mind just starting Norman Powell to have the spacing. Derek Jones, love the addition of Derek Jones with this team. Kawhi Leonard and Zubats. Yeah, you can still win a lot of basketball games with this team. With James Harden and like Kawhi Leonard alone can win you a lot of basketball games. And Zubats, more than capable center. Again, I might go Norman Powell here. Did they talk about Norman Powell at all in here? No, it doesn't really look like it. So I guess fair enough. Derek Jones Jr. is going to be a nice 3-and-D player for them. He had a great season last year. I'm happy that he got the contract that he was looking for. Terrence Mann just got an extension as well. James Harden's going to have the ball like the entire time now. So we're going to see what kind of shape this boy's in at this point. But do we feel better about them than like all these other teams? I would say, yeah, most definitely I would. So, all right, I'm in agreement. Next up, who do we got? The Houston Rockets? Yeah, that feels about right. Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., Şengün. Yeah, this is a pretty easy starting lineup to figure out. You could make a case maybe that you hope Amen Thompson gets good enough in this next year to where he could be a starter, but VanVleet had such a good season for them last year, so he'd have to really fall off. The reason you don't see this team higher because there's a lot of recognizable names. We still have questions about Jabari Smith and Jalen Green, right? You know what you're getting out of Dylan Brooks at this point. You're getting a very quality starter player. Fred VanVleet's really nice. Şengün looks awesome. We just don't know what kind of consistency we're getting out of Jalen Green and Jabari Smith at this point. Jalen had that spurt last year, was starting to look really good. We were very interested in it, right? Jabari looks good defensively. He's just kind of struggling to find his role offensively, and maybe he just has a limited offensive skill set, and we just kind of need to just make him a spacing 4, and like that's fine. Playing good defense from the 4 and being able to space is going to be valuable, so I guess where do we see them? Do we feel better about the Clippers? You might be able to convince me of that, honestly. Like, you really might be able to. Just like, look, James Harden and Kawhi have just been around for a while. This is no injuries or anything, right? So that's why we're talking like this. But I might see the Clippers ahead of them. Next up, the Miami Heat. Ooh, this feels a little low for the Miami Heat. They got a nice little 5. Rozier, Hero, Butler, Jovic, and Bam. No disagreements there at all. Finally, a full season of Terry Rozier, so that's awesome, or at least a full off season where they can get used to him. Jovic continues to look better and better, and he looked really good in the Olympics play and everything, so that's exciting. Jimmy Butler said he is locked in for this year. Bam is always locked in, and we're going to see if Tyler Hero is. He came with an interesting haircut this year to the media day or whatever, so let's just hope these guys are serious, man, because like if they're all locked in and everything and they've got a nice bench, good things can happen. You know, they're always going to find some surprise player throughout the season. So yeah, no, I can see the Heat there. I'd put the Heat above these teams most likely. New Orleans Pelicans. Oh, see, this one's kind of tough because you've got 4 like really good starters on this team, and honestly, if you put like the 6th and 7th man up there might not be too many teams better than them in basketball, but it's because of they don't even have one of the centers on there. Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, and Zion at center. This group is small. Yeah, and no, the team doesn't really lack shooting necessarily in this, like just outside of Zion. But no, it's the center play. Like they're most likely not going to roll this lineup out. I don't think they go Zion at center. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. They probably throw Daniel Tice out there, and they've got a couple other options and Missy. And is it like Marco something? That's the other guy that they have. I can't remember, but I was watching some of the film and he was kind of interesting. So we'll see now that he's over on the team. But yeah, the center position's tough. That kind of drops them in the list just because of the center play and everything. It's just such a glaring gap. So I don't know. They might fall below a couple of these teams for that reason, but everyone else is so good. So I don't know. Sacramento Kings, Fox, Herter, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Sabonis. Yeah, no, that looks good. I like that team. How do we keep developing Keegan Murray, even though we have another ball handler on the team now in DeMar DeRozan? We've seen DeMar DeRozan be a really good distributor on teams before. That's awesome, but Sabonis has kind of been the hub, working with like Fox and everything. Kevin Herter obviously had a down season last year. Hopefully he can pick his way back up, but I want to keep developing Keegan Murray. I really, really like Keegan Murray. Whenever I do anything Kings-wise, I'm like, y'all have a really good player here. I wish I was on the staff so I could help to unlock this guy. Like, I really, really like him. I saw some of the ball handling and the improved defense last year. I'm like, oh, we could get something. Now DeRozan's on the team, and I get the move. I do, and I like the move. I just wish it didn't get in the way of Keegan Murray's development. But you got to do what you got to do. Got to stay competitive. So, yeah, no, this is definitely the best lineup we've seen up to this point. This is a really good team, this 5 together. They should cause problems. They've got size. They got smarts. They got shooting and dynamicness all over. Should be a good team. Indiana Pacers. Okay, yeah. Tyrese Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith. Nesmith, huh? Interesting. We'll come back to that. Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner. Okay, no Mathurin, huh? I want to put Mathurin in this lineup. What did Mathurin shoot from 3 last year? I feel like he shot like pretty well from 3 last year. No, it wasn't as good as I remember. Okay, fair enough. No. That was a career. Yeah, no, he was up to 37% last year. So I want to get Ben Mathurin out there. I think you need some more like, I'm going to go create a shot for myself type dudes, because Halliburton doesn't always do it. Nembhard loses the ball a bit too much when he does it, so I'd rather have Mathurin out there and see if we can't develop that a little more. I'm cool bringing Nesmith off the bench. Like, Siakam just kind of does his own thing from the post, and Turner's just a support player. I don't want to minimize what he does. He's very impactful for this team, but in terms of like offense, I'd rather have Mathurin out there. Do I feel better about that team or the Kings? I feel better about the Kings than the Pacers, honestly. I know this team just made it to the conference finals and everything. Halliburton's really awesome. I really, really like a lot of these players, but I feel like there's still a lot of question marks in primarily these two, and throw in Ben Mathurin, so I'll take the Kings over them. Next up, the Golden State Warriors. Oh, do tell. Steph Curry, great. Buddy Hield, love it. Andrew Wiggins, I hope he's doing okay. Jonathan Kuminga, I have a lot of questions about you. And Draymond Green. No, I like the Kings and Pacers better than this team. I do. Curry's awesome. Like I said, Buddy Hield should be cool offensively. We hope Wiggins is doing better. I have a lot of question marks about Kuminga. He's a really cool and dynamic player. I'm not seeing winning basketball being played out of him just yet. And then Draymond at center, I don't really want to do that for a full season, but I know they don't have a ton of other options. So, no, I don't feel that great about this team. I don't feel great about this team going into this season. I didn't have them making the playoffs or even the play-in this year, unfortunately. And that's a shame. It's a real shame. I wish they would have just paid Clay, man. I just would have rather seen them kind of finish it out and everything. But is what it is. So I got them a little lower. Lakers, yeah, they got a good first five. Russell, Reeves, Braun, Rui, Davis. We love Anthony Davis, right? We love LeBron. Rui was a really nice player for them, and I actually think if he had more ball handling responsibilities, he could be better. But look, everybody's got to play a role in the NBA. Austin Reeves, we obviously know we like him. He had some down moments last year, but is what it is. D'Angelo Russell had a really good season last year. Some of you are instantly thinking back to the playoffs where he went cold at times. Calm down, dude had a really good season last year, right? Just go look at numbers. Just go look at real basic numbers. Like, dude was a really good basketball player, super smart player. Really curious to see when they get in a real analytical system that JJ Redick's going to draw up. Like, what does that do for a D'Angelo Russell type who plays a pretty systematic style of basketball? I wouldn't be surprised actually if we see a greater improvement. But in terms of first five, I mean, who's the team that, like, it's Sacramento that I still have pretty high? At the end of the day, they have LeBron and Anthony Davis, and so, yeah, no, I'll give it to them. Now, could the Kings beat them in a 5-game series? I could totally see it. Or 5-game series, a 7-game series. I could totally see it. But in terms of like first five, I'm gonna give it to the King in the brow, man. I feel like that'd be crazy to say anything else. Orlando Magic, Orlando Magic, Orlando Magic. Sorry, I couldn't help but throw that in there. People liked that too much when I did it last time. So anyway, Orlando Magic. I already know I edited another thing in there. It's fine. Jalen Suggs, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. No, I don't like this one as much as like the Lakers and the Kings. I like them better than like the Warriors. Do I like them better than the Pacers? Yeah, I guess so. Adding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was a really nice addition. I still don't want Suggs playing point guard. I don't feel great about that. I would have felt really bad about that at the start of last season. At the end of last season, I started to actually see some development in Suggs that made me go, okay, maybe we can make it work. I don't feel great about it still yet, but I at least had hope. Like, we started to see some more of like the ball handling and the creation skills kind of come into fruition because look, you're looking for creators on this team, right? And I don't see any. And that's a big problem I have with this Orlando Magic team. Like, there's just nobody here that's creating their own offense. Like, Paolo is like, he's not going to have any gravity still. He's just not going to. He can operate in like the low post and do some things. We saw him go to some ISOs at the top of the key, and he's big and he's strong and he can get to the hoop. That's cool, right? We don't have anybody that's really being dynamic, creating space and like getting other people open, things like that. We just don't have that. Hopefully it can be Suggs. Honestly, like Cole Anthony's the closest thing they got to it on this team. Like Franz does not do that. He plays more of a refined, like analytical style of basketball. Really nice player. Even with the poor 3-point shooting and everything. And Wendell Carter's just kind of a support player. I don't know. I don't think I've got them quite as high as the Lakers or the Kings, but it's a good group. It's a good group nonetheless. So I don't know, just my thoughts on them. Memphis Grizzlies, yeah, this could be an interesting one. Okay, John Morant, Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. Okay. I personally don't want to start Zach Edey. I'd rather start G.G. Jackson. He's not going to play early on this season, it sounds like, and we might be missing some Vince Williams Jr. as well, so that might have been my other option here. So they might have to start Zach Edey at this point. And I know Jaren Jackson Jr. is not traditionally a center. I don't trust in Zach Edey enough yet. Hopefully he's looking really good in training camp and I'm proven wrong by that or whatever. I don't personally trust it right away. I don't see the direct correlation to him being able to play like starter level minutes and being that high level of a contributor. We hope that he gets there. He's a smart player and everything, but I don't know. I have questions about that. But hey, if he can set some mean screens, cool. I'm here for it, right? But yeah, without Gigi and Vince out there, yeah, you probably got to go to somewhere else. We haven't seen enough of Ja and Marcus Smart on the court together, so we're not sure how that works. I like Desmond Bane a ton. I think he's a really, really cool player. I got to see him play plenty in college and everything. Really like him, and I like Jaren Jackson Jr. a lot. So yeah, this is a good five. I have some major questions about the center position, and like this team is in desperate need of wings, so I still might put Sacramento and the Lakers ahead of them. Do I put the Magic in front of them? No, I don't think so. Ja Morant alone, right, and Jaren Jackson, yeah, no, they're just a more dynamic like combo. So no, yeah, this Memphis Grizzlies team is pretty good. I like them a lot. I still might take Sacramento and the Lakers though over these guys. So just my opinion. Ooh, Timberwolves: Conley, Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, Gobert. It's a tough five, that's for sure. It's not as good as when they had Cat, but it's a good 5, and we know that defensively this team just like clamps up. I'd still like some more creation on this team. It's going to come from the bench most likely, and so that's at least something. I'm concerned about the Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle combo, especially if Jaden McDaniels doesn't find what he was like starting to find earlier on in his career. This last season was a little bit rough. Conley's getting a little bit older. Do I have them above all the other teams we've seen so far? Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that. So we know what this team is capable of for at least these 4. You throw Julius Randle in there, again, still all NBA level talent when he's at his best. We'll see how it works with Rudy Gobert. We'll just have to see. Cleveland, yeah, no, this is a good 5. Garland, Mitchell, Strus. Strus or Okoro? I could go either way. You guys let me know. I like Okoro's defense and the fact that he was still like a solid shooter. They did do well with Strus last year, and then Mobley and Jared Allen. Yeah, no. I love this group. I want it to work better than it does. So the first 5, and I have Okoro and not Strus for the numbers in my head, they were like a +2 or something like that as a lineup. When they went to like just Garland and Mobley, they were like a +12. When they went to just like Donovan and Jared Allen, they're like a +12 or something like that. So for whatever reason, Garland and Mitchell don't play as well together, and when Mobley and Allen aren't together, they don't play as well together. So that's definitely going to be something to watch during the season, but like, my gosh, you've got such a great accumulation of talent on this team. I want to find a way to make it work. I really do. But yeah, no, this is probably the best lineup we've seen so far. Who's number 8? The Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, that feels appropriate. Lillard, Gary Trent. So just Gary Trent instead of like Malik Beasley, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Brook Lopez. Yeah, no. At the end of the day, you have Damian Lillard. You have Giannis. That alone gets you probably in the top 10, right? This is 8. Brook Lopez, still really nice basketball player, right? Chris Middleton. I know he had the offseason stuff. I'd like to think that he'll be able to come in decent shape for the start of the year. I hope so, at least. I hope they're getting him on bikes and stuff like that, since he probably can't be flexing his ankles and everything, and we get him in somewhat okay shape. Gary Trent Jr. is a nice replacement. I wish they could have kept Beasley, but you know, is what it is. You got to make money moves when you can. So this should be a good basketball team. I really hope that they can just figure out how to make these two play together. It just seemed like they were missing so many basic things that we all just thought that they would do. Like the Giannis Dame pick and roll just was non-existent last year. Isn't that the first thing? Like all of you watching out here, you people that have done no coaching in basketball at all, and I bet you a lot of you didn't even play in high school. Like, isn't that the first thing you would want to try? Like, let's just even say you're playing 2K. First thing you're calling Dame Giannis pick and roll, right? Why wasn't it present? Like, and that's such a basic thing. It's such a basic thing. And like, yeah, these two had like a rough start and everything. They were both kind of delegating to each other, being like, oh, you can shoot the ball. You can shoot the ball. Yada, yada, yada. Let Dame run the show. Giannis be a support player, be like coming from the angles and things like that, coming off cuts. He's going to have a ton of gravity on him at all times without the basketball. Use it. Let Lillard create because of that. You're going to have Middleton who can go get you some buckets. You got shooting all around. I like that 5 a lot. Phoenix Suns. Yeah, that feels appropriate. Phoenix Suns definitely got the best first 5 so far, right? Tyus Jones, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic was quietly one of the best defensive players in basketball last year. Tyus Jones, they finally have a true point guard on their team and a good one. We've all known Tyus Jones to be like the best backup point guard and one of the best backup point guards in basketball the past couple of years. Doesn't make many mistakes, plays good defense. So they've added him to the roster. Hopefully he can help keep them organized, right? They also added Monte Morris, who's kind of like Tyus Jones light. So there you go. Bradley Beal had a good season last year when he was on the court. I know the playoff series was ugly, but you guys, he had a really good basketball season considering he had 2 guys scoring 27, 28 points a game on his team, and they had good efficiency. And when those 3 were on the court, like they were crushing teams. Like the analytics tell us, like, no, they were winning basketball games. They were playing really well. It's just, you know, this is what you just didn't have them. They were all getting hurt at different points of the year. But man, this is a team that could win the finals. They very well easily could, because at the end of the day, you got 3 killers on your team. You just have 3 straight up killers. And if you don't think Bradley Beal's still a killer, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just incorrect. You're just incorrect about it. But anyway, Phoenix should be good this year. Should be good. Dallas. Ooh. Dallas at 6. Interesting. Who do we have above them? Luka, Kyrie, Clay, and then the awesome duo of PJ Washington, Derek Lively. They got Derek Lively. It sounds like it'll be a battle between them and Gafford. I think Jason Kidd said they're going to start with Lively first. They both kind of said they don't care. They're probably just going to split minutes anyway. And they're pretty much the same player, right? Maybe Well, no, they play a little bit different, but like they're basically the same player, right? So Luka and Kyrie, obviously we know they can go to the NBA Finals. We love the addition of Klay Thompson to this team. I'd like to see PJ Washington become like a third ball handler on this team and see him do some Draymond Green-esque things with like Klay Thompson. I think that'd be cool, and I think he's smart enough, and I think come playoff time we see that they're going to ice these guys enough that you need somebody on the short roll that can then keep the offense going. So I think PJ Washington should be that guy. But we're talking about starting fives and stuff like that. I think this is a good starting five. I think they're very good. Not top five, apparently, though. Who do we got in the top five? Who do we have? The New York Knicks. Okay, I'm going to agree with you on that one. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. That lineup is dumb. That's a dumb lineup. That's so crazy. What an awesome accumulation of talent right here. Like, this smirk says it all right here. Like, what the hell? Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I know. We built this. This is crazy. That's a crazy first five. And, like, you also got good players off the bench, too. Like, this doesn't include a Mitchell Robinson, who, in all honesty, if I'm drawing up, like, their starting five, I'd have Hart come off the bench, Mitch Rob at the 4, because we've seen how good Cat can be when he's not a 5, mostly for defensive reasons. But man, that is a crazy lineup. I can't even imagine all the different things I'd try to draw up as a coach of this team. Like, you still got dudes like McBride off the bench, right? Like I said, potentially a Hart, but Mitch Robinson and stuff. It's just wow. You can do a lot with this team. My coaching brain wants to go in 1,000 different directions with this group. So yeah, no, okay, yeah, they're better than the Timberwolves, or than the Mavericks. I'll give you that. The Sixers. Okay, do we have the Sixers above the Mavericks? I'm gonna say no. I'd say you could switch spots with them. I'm not saying they're like far off. And like, if you wanted to make an argument for it, I'd hear you on it. I would hear you. But anyway, Tyrese Maxey, Caleb Martin, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid. I would say Kelly Oubre I'd want him guarding 2s. I'd maybe want Caleb Martin guarding 3s and Paul George guarding 4s. That's how I'd go about it. I don't know if they have them in that order for a reason. Just letting you guys know my preferences. This is going to be a switch heavy team anyway at the end of the day, at least 1 through 4. But yeah, Paul George is on this team now. That's awesome. He's a perfect third piece to add to this team. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think it makes the Sixers a lot better. I love the addition of Caleb Martin. He's a guy that's used to having a bunch of other guys have the ball, but keeping offense going. You see the catch and cuts, or the catch and rips that he does all the time. Really valuable to teams. I think it's going to be great for a team like this, who they're already busy chasing around Maxey and Paul George, and now like Embiid's always doing stuff, and you've got guys like Caleb Martin that are going and creating other stuff off it. Kelly Oubre had a really nice season last year. Awesome. Yeah, this is a really good first five. I'd personally have Dallas, or I'd have New York, Dallas, and then Philly, but look, I'd hear the argument at the end of the day. Boston at 3? I don't even remember what teams we haven't talked about yet, so I'm actually genuinely really curious as to like, we haven't done the Nuggets yet. Who's the other team? I don't know. I'm not going to think about it that hard. But Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. Okay, so yeah, with Porzingis out and everything. Okay, so they are taking injuries into account with this thing. So that's something to be in mind of when we're critiquing the article, if you will, which great job to whoever wrote this. But that's the best first five in basketball. That first five was just unstoppable last season. I don't want to hear any other argument. You guys know the Celtics are good. Who's next? Denver Nuggets. Who's number 1? Who am I forgetting? Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, apparently. Like, could y'all imagine in kindergarten if you had a teacher that like showed your kid, like they're teaching your kid how to read, and they're like, all right, kids, like these are little Denver elementary school kindergarten kids, right? They're like, can we say Brown? Like, spell Brown for me. And they spell that. They're incorrect. I don't like it at all. Michael Porter Jr., Gordon, Jokic. Yeah, the 4 of Jokic, Gordon, Porter Jr., and Murray, some of the best we have in basketball, right? We have question marks about Christian Brown, but he is a good basketball player, right? He just is. I'm still putting the Celtics above them, and I easily will, in my brain at least. But and maybe they moved him back because of the Porzingis thing. That must be part of the reason why. But I don't know. That's a weird way to write the article, in my opinion. But no, we know Jokic, Gordon, Porter Jr., Murray are awesome. I see some people sometimes want to trade like Michael Porter Jr. This guy just won you a championship, and like Michael Porter Jr. is sneakily one of the best defensive players that we see in basketball. He's probably the best catch and shoot guy we have in basketball. That's why we call him Michael Never Swing the Rock Porter. But like him and the way he plays off of Jokic, like I think Jokic would be furious if they got rid of Porter Jr. Like Porter Jr. makes Jokic's life so much easier. You guys have no idea. But No, it's a good 5. It's a very good 5. I think I'll put Boston above them, and that's probably about it. Just because like Jokic is that good. So I don't know. Who's number 1 though? Oh, the Thunder. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Shea, J-Dub, Lou Dort, Chet, and Hartenstein. Are we starting Chet and Hartenstein? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm really not. I want Shea, Isaiah Joe. When we looked at the numbers during the preseason preview, Shea plays so much better with Isaiah Joe on the court. Isaiah Joe should get the start. Just for like the 3-point shooting and everything, like the defensive numbers were good enough. Like I feel good about that. Then we go into Dort, the torture chamber, J-Dub at the 4. I'm really excited about J-Dub. I'd like to see him become like a potential all-star type dude. And then I'm going Chet. I like Chet at the 5. That's where I want Chet. I feel like Chet has more advantages playing at the 5 than he does at the 4, and I want to maximize Chet. I like Hartenstein a lot, though, so like I get it. If you want to start him, I do. I'm not going to tell you you're crazy by any means for that. And yeah, you still have Caruso and stuff coming off the bench. If you want to tell me he should start, I'd hear you out on that too. I think it should be Isaiah Joe. But that's me, and I wouldn't start Hartenstein. I wouldn't. But is this the best starting 5? I think it's going to be the most consistent, maybe. I'm still going to put, like, Denver ahead of them, though, because they just done it. Boston's just done it. How do I feel about Dallas and, like, New York? I think I'm putting those teams above them as well. I'm not ready to put OKC that high. Could OKC get first seed, and did I predict them to be that? Yes. Do I think they're the best starting 5? No, necessarily. That's my opinion. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, though. This is where I turn it over to you guys. Make sure you guys are always responsible and decent in the comments. Remember, try to say like I believe instead of like this is. Like you're on the internet. Like have some manners, damn it. But anyway, no, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. We're here. We're at preseason. Let's enjoy it together and leave me some suggestions for what else you guys want me to cover. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye.